great to be part of a program like the Outlaws, great ownership group. It's all you hear about is it's one of the best places to play in the league. So to have an opportunity to, to be a part of that, to play in this, this beautiful stadium, and to be able to spend a lot of time in the city of Denver, I'm looking forward to it. Well, it's exciting to be back with Tony. I had the opportunity to play for him in college, and he did some great things for me, and certainly had a big influence on my career path, and even up to the point of having an opportunity to work with him here as the general manager of the Outlaws. And I had a chance to coach with him. We had a couple great years there. Made the Final Four my second year of coaching with him, and I remember at the time he looked at me and said, "Hey, you better enjoy it. This doesn't happen very often." And we've been very lucky, and to have a chance to team back up with him, we've had a lot of fun working together, both in our in our business and being back here with the Outlaws. Tony and I both have some very unique backgrounds and experiences, between the two of us, and we tout this in our business, and part of it just means that we're old, but we have over 50 years of college coaching experience, and there's not a whole lot of things we haven't seen or haven't done, during those years. We've been at a number of different levels, and I think Tony brings, some real strong experience and knowledge in actually running a program and the administrative part of it. And he's been, at the Ivy League and at Hopkins and at Towson, and again, he's been in a lot of different places, state universities, dealt with scholarships, dealt with budgets. So he brings that, and he brings in a great understanding as a GM, because he's been a coach too. So I think that's a great plus for me as the coach. And again, I've had the opportunity to coach for 25 years at the college level, and the experience of not just recruiting, but game preparation. Spent a lot of time in front of the film, and that's the exciting part about it, is having a chance to work with the best players in the country, and have an opportunity to prepare them for a game, which is, at the end of the day, as a college coach, it's not what takes up the majority of your time. The coaching and the game part of it, becomes secondary at points to the recruiting and the managing of your players, and the academic side of it. So to be in a situation where I can focus on just managing the players, preparing for games, and coaching, and having Tony do the other parts of it, I think it's a great opportunity. What's exciting for me is that the experience that these guys have. I mean, as vast as Tony and I's experience is, to be able to work with guys like this, and despite the fact that you don't get to spend a lot of time with them, they're big boys. They've been playing for a long time at a high level, and to be able to just tell guys to do something, put them in a position, put them in a situation, prepare a game plan in a short period of time, and know that not only are they going to understand it and be able to respond to it, but they're going to be able to execute it at a high level. That's something I'm really looking forward to. It's not like you're dealing with freshmen, and you're dealing with men, and certainly there's high expectations of them, and I'm sure there's high expectations of me. But I think that when you go into a situation knowing that you have the guns and you have the people that can execute, not many coaches have that luxury. Well, there's certainly a learning curve. I think some of it carries over, as I said, the game preparation, the film, preparing for an opponent, trying to take their strengths away, and trying to take advantages of their weaknesses, and all that is going to be the same. The amount of time you put into that. The difference, certainly there's some differences in the game, the speed of the game. There's going to be some challenges in defending, defending different parts of the game, as you said, the 2-point shot, and the shot clock. Different types of strategy, but again, when you have this kind of player, and the playing field is somewhat even, I think that that we'll pick that up, and we'll pick that up in a hurry. There's some experienced guys in the team, in the program, who've been in the league that we'll rely on certainly early on, and I'm sure we'll learn as much from them early on as they learn from us. And then it's a professional team, and these guys are all talented, and managing the personalities and getting everybody to buy into a system and a type of play, I think is really something that that's a challenge early on. But again, I think with the experience and hopefully credibility that we bring to the table, everybody will be in line. I think that we have we have a named marquee player in each of the positions. I mean, we start with Jesse having an established all league goalie. And then, at the other end of the field, having Brendan Mundorf, you have an experienced and again, one of the premier attackers in the league. So just having that for a start is in a solid midfield in Pullian, and then we added Jeremy Sieverts, who's a big athletic all-around player. So I think we have a good foundation. I'd love to see us have a team that can they can get the people in the stands up on their feet, run up and down the field. I think we have the defenders in the middle of the field that have the athleticism and the ability to push transition. And I think that the guys that just from the foundation that we have. I expect us to be a high-paced, exciting, up and down the field team. Stan Ross is joining our staff, and another guy who has a great resume, very diverse background. Was a head coach at Butler, was an assistant at Princeton when they won a national championship, played at Loyola, was an assistant at Loyola, and was at the Naval Academy prior to this season. So having a chance to have someone like him, again, the experience and credibility and the knowledge. Stan brings an awful lot to the table for us too, as a college coach, and someone who was at the academy most recently. His organizational skills and his game preparation, and what he's learned from guys like Richie Meade and Billy Tierney and Dave Cottle over the years, that's invaluable. The game is growing, and there's always, and we even say this in the college recruiting, there's a finite number of blue chips, and then there's everybody else who's good. And it's everybody else who's good who's going to make a difference in this league, who has the rest of those guys that that buy into a system, those role players, those D middies and those face-off men and those finishers, and everybody's going to have their marquee guys. And you're right, there's a chance that it's going to be diluted and spread out a little bit. And unfortunately, it's not a league that everyone has the opportunity to play in. But I do think that it will add some parity to the league, and I think that coaching becomes pretty important in it, in decision making, and that's how you fill in those other spots underneath your marquee players, and we'll start to find that out as we get through the next couple drafts. Billy Tierney, I go way back with Billy. He was at my wedding. I've known him since I first started in coaching, and he again has been someone who has been a great resource for me. This is a great town. It's one of those places that for an emerging area, people are they're lacrosse crazy, and you draw great crowds. It's an area where these guys in the ML like to, even if you're not on the Outlaws, they like to come and play. And I think that there's just great potential, and certainly Billy's got everybody excited following what he did just in his second year at DU, and I think that there will be a trickle down effect from that. The better the player that he brings in, the more likely that kid is going to stay in the area, and the more opportunity is for the Outlaws to pick up quality kids right in their backyard. And while we're seeing it everywhere, the growth, we've been in Arizona, we've been in Florida, we've been in Ohio, we're on our way to Texas. There's still something about Denver, for one reason or another, that has put it ahead of the curve the whole way. And I don't know if it's the commitment of the schools, but there's always, even back when I was coaching at Washington and Lee, I had a couple players from out here in Denver who were very good Division III players, and carried that over. And Billy Tierney, when had some of the first real competitive players out of Denver playing for him at Princeton at one time. There's always they've always been on the cutting edge out here, and it's I wish I could put my finger on it, but there's a real passion for it out here. And I think then when a guy like Billy Tierney comes out here, it only fuels that passion. And there's a lot of kids playing at the high school level, and there's a lot of quality kids playing. I think the kids from out here in Colorado are always willing to come out east, particularly early on, to showcase their abilities. And I think that gained the coach's attention out there. And certainly this is an area of the country that the college coaches they don't skip over in the process anymore. That's for sure. I think if the NCAA brought the tournament out here, I think it would do very well. But I think that there's certainly more than enough interest and and again, passion for the game, and you're going to draw maybe a little different crowd, but I think it's a great crowd for lacrosse because it's that emerging crowd, and I think it's not just the Denver crowd, but the people from from Arizona and in Texas and California that would have an opportunity to travel such a short distance to be able to see that level of lacrosse up front and personal. So I don't have any reservations that it would work out here.